Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, January the 5th, 2016. An IDF soldier in reserve was stabbed and lightly wounded this morning by a Palestinian in the West Bank. The incident happened at the Gush Etzion junction. The terrorist was shot and killed by Israeli security forces at the scene. Magen David Adom paramedics treated the victim, said to be in his 30s, before evacuating him to Shaarei Tzedek Medical Center in Jerusalem. Later today in the West Bank, the Times of Israel reports that a Palestinian threw a makeshift grenade at a border patrol post near Rachel's tomb near Bethlehem. There were no injuries in that incident. While the Arab-Israeli terrorist who shot and killed 2 people in a bar Friday in Tel Aviv and then shot and killed a cab driver remains at large, some of his family members have been detained. 29-year-old Nashat Milham's father, Muhammad, was arrested and questioned today on suspicion of being an accessory to the deadly attack and of obstructing the investigation. The shooter's uncle and 4 other family members and friends were also arrested. The court, though, did order Milham's brother, who was detained earlier, to be released. Meanwhile, the search for Milham continues, and while it is unclear whether he is still in Tel Aviv or whether perhaps he fled to the West Bank or elsewhere, Israel Police Commissioner Ronnie Al-Sheikh suggested that there had been a shift. He told reporters today that it was possible to, quote, dramatically reduce the tension in the Tel Aviv area, adding that he could not elaborate, quote, in order to not cause harm to the ongoing investigation. However, the Times of Israel reports that Tel Aviv police did not receive any orders to lower the terror alert level in the city, despite those remarks today. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed a special meeting of the Knesset held yesterday, which marked the 40th anniversary of former ambassador to the United Nations and later President Chaim Herzog's speech at the UN against Resolution 3379, a resolution which stated that Zionism is a form of racism. Herzog tore up the resolution and declared that it was, quote, based on falsehood, hatred, and arrogance, is devoid of any moral or legal value. Netanyahu yesterday added that the resolution not only did not help find solutions, it deepened the conflicts and stood on the side of tyranny against democracy. The Prime Minister said that although the resolution was canceled in 1991, the world body still had a long way to go. He said the trend of hostility to Israel in UN institutions continues to this day. The pattern of automatic votes against Israel continues. There are factors in the UN who seek to condemn us at every opportunity. Noting that in the past year, the UN General Assembly passed 20 resolutions against Israel and by comparison, only 1 against Iran. French President François Hollande paid tribute today to the 17 people killed in terror attacks by jihadists in Paris just under a year ago. 3 plaques commemorating the attacks at the headquarters of the Charlie Hebdo newspaper, at the kosher supermarket the Hyper Caché, and on the streets of the city were unveiled. On January the 7th, 2015, brothers Sharif and Saeed Kouachi stormed the paper's offices, killing 11 people there. A Muslim police officer was killed trying to chase the 2 down. And then on January the 8th, Amedi Coulibaly shot and killed a policewoman, and on the 9th, shot and killed 4 people, all of whom were Jewish, at the Hyper Caché market. The gunmen were all killed in standoffs with police. The main Jewish umbrella group in France, CRIF, said yesterday that there would be a memorial on January the 9th at the market to remember all of the victims killed over that 3-day period last January. The American Jewish Committee issued a new publication they hope will shed some light on the current conflict Israel faces. The Arab-Israeli Conflict, a brief guide for the perplexed, was written by AJC Executive Director David Harris. It is a 28-page pamphlet on Israel's ongoing struggle for peace and security in the Middle East. Harris explained the need for such a publication. He said, unfortunately, some in the media, certain political and intellectual circles, and a number of influential voices on campuses pay insufficient attention to the actual history of the conflict, minimize Arab rhetoric and deep-seated attitudes, and reflexively make Israel out to be the villain of the story. Harris said the pamphlet provides historical and contemporary context with the hope of giving a, quote, more objective understanding of the policy dilemmas, existential dangers, and obstacles to enduring peace that Israel faces. A new bill was introduced in California state legislature to combat BDS, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement that seeks to delegitimize the state of Israel. Republican Assemblyman Travis Allen introduced the bill yesterday, named the California Israel Protection Act. It would forbid California from, quote, engaging in boycotts based on race, color, religion, gender, or nationality, including doing business with companies boycotting, sanctioning, or divesting from Israel. Allen said that the U.S. and Israel have a unique and strong bond that is based on shared values and a strong commitment to freedom and democracy. Allen added that the BDS movement uses false and demonizing propaganda against Israel, which he said, quote, has become a pretext for the expression of anti-Jewish bigotry. Similar resolutions have already been passed by state legislatures in South Carolina, Illinois, Tennessee, New York, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, January the 5th. At 8 o'clock, radio host and founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa, speaks out against the BDS movement. And together with Assemblyman Todd Kaminsky and Yifa Siegel of the International Legal Forum of Israel, suggests ways to combat all forms of anti-Semitism. That's from Temple Hillel in Valley Stream, New York. At 9 o'clock, Mark Golub sits down with Executive Director of the Bronfman Center for Jewish Student Life at NYU, Rabbi Yehuda Sarna, on L'chaim. And at 10 o'clock, Jewish history lecturer and author Ken Spiro gives a presentation on anti-Semitism across the ages from the Fifth Avenue Synagogue in New York City. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, JBS presents a ceremony commemorating the centennial of the Armenian genocide from the Museum of Jewish Heritage, a living memorial to the Holocaust. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, January the 5th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.